romance of the Ranchos. The words bring images perpetuated in song and film of happy times, of fiestas, of caballeros dressed in outfits trimmed in silver, and their ladies twirling around a dance floor in long dresses with swirling skirts. Certainly there was that. But there were also long hours of tedious work. 300 Native Americans helped build Rancho Guajome. And there were also reports of a leading ranchero getting away with murder. At one adobe, modern visitors swear they've heard ghosts. These rancheros of North San Diego County were pioneers who lived off the land via cattle, crops, and their strength of character. After Mexico's successful revolution from Spain culminated in 1821, Mexican governors in California began distributing land grants, some of them huge, like the giant 133,000-acre Rancho Santa Margarita y Las Flores, most of which is now one of the largest Marine Corps bases in the world. And some of them were small, down now to only a few acres. Movie stars of their times played bit to major roles in the ranchos. Joan Crawford donated the big tree in the courtyard at Buena Vista, and Charlie Chaplin visited. It was owned by Margarita Fisher, a big star in silent films, and her husband, Harry Pollard, a Hollywood director. And Leo Carrillo, of Cisco Kid television fame, owned his own rancho, reflecting the heritage of his ranchero forebears. Some of the ranchos, Guajome, Buena Vista, and Carrillo, are in public ownership with tours on a regular basis. Others, like those on the Marine base, still allow the public, but on a more restricted basis. Some owners, like Shelley Caron, schedule regular school groups to view her Marron adobe, and others, like Pat and Karen Kelly on portions of the old Rancho Agua Hedionda, still revere the adobe, part of their own private home. Much of the ranch land, including most of the current city of Carlsbad and property that was once owned by Oceanside City Councilman John Steiger, have given way to modern development. In this series, KOCT remembers the adobes and ranchos of early California. Rancho Guajome, in its rural setting, looks as if it had come down to us from olden days. Its grounds and 7,200 square foot home are owned by the County of San Diego. Like its neighbor, Rancho Buena Vista, it was owned by Cave Couts, who is said to have gotten away with murder. Couts and his wife Isadora Bondini received the rancho as a wedding present. In early 1990, the late Bill Couts, a direct descendant of the Adobes' historic owner, was interviewed at Rancho Guajome for KOCT's documentary, Guajome, Cadillac of the Adobes. The late Mary Ward, longtime San Diego County historian, also was interviewed in 1990 at Rancho Guajome. Rancho Guajome became known as the social and cultural center of North County and had a school, a church, and a store on the premises. Store prices included 18 pairs of stirrups or 3 axe blades for $18, 100 pounds of sugar sold for $10, and 75 pounds of coffee for $15. A list of annual wages paid showed that a doctor, Jesus Ortega, MD, received the most money, $360 for the year. Jake Enriquez, district manager for the San Diego County Department of Parks and Recreation, which owns the rancho, tells us about the Couts family and life at Guajome. The name, incidentally, is Luiseño, Indian for frog pond.
Hi, my name is Jake Enriquez. I'm a district manager with the County of San Diego Department of Parks and Recreation. Rancho Guajome was built by Cave Johnson Counts, a native of Tennessee and a graduate of West Point. He came out to California in 1849. In 1851, he married Isadora Bandini, and together in 1852, they started construction on this home.
My name is Mary Ward. I am the historian with the County of San Diego Department of Parks and Recreation. So Couts was invited to stay in the home of his future father-in-law, Juan Bandini. And from what I understand, there were fiestas that went on continuously during that month while they waited for the Mexican commissioners, and that was the occasion when he met his future wife, Isadora Bandini. He married Isadora in 1851 and then came up here, left Isadora with her family in the Bandini house in Old Town, and Couts dragged some boards and brought his horse and came up here to this rich land and dug a well for water for his horse and for himself, and virtually camped here until he began the construction in 1851 of the beginning of this beautiful adobe, which is now called the Cadillac of adobes.
Shortly after moving into Rancho Guajome, Couts became very familiar with the area, and within a short time he purchased the neighboring rancho, Rancho Buena Vista. A short time after that, he bought the next ranch over, which is Rancho Vallecitos de San Marcos, which is the city of San Marcos today. So from the western edge of Escondido all the way along the 78 corridor into Oceanside, Couts became a huge land baron and owned all the desirable land of the time, land that was good for agriculture and livestock. Something that's nice about Rancho Guajome is that its ample supply of water. Guajome Creek runs out of the community of Vista, goes right through the entire property, and there's a couple of ponds along the way, and it's all marshland full of lots of water, which made it conducive to a wide variety of agriculture. And even in dry years, he was able to dry farm because the water table stayed pretty moist around this area.